Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Alpha Live here, the well-rounded Alpha. We are continuing with our cruiser section, and we are coming to one of my favorite cruisers ever, the Thorax, the beautiful, gorgeous, a little bit phallic-looking Thorax. It's absolutely magnificent, but it's a little bit hard because it only uses railguns or blasters, and it doesn't have a lot of drone space, so it's kind of rough to use it for high-sec combat exploration, or it wouldn't really make a lot of sense in abyssal runs because it's a cruiser. And so we actually get to find out what you can actually use the Thorax for. We are, as you can see, in LOSEC, a minus zero point 0.1 system, and we just had a lot of fun. Just before we actually see the fit, I put everything that we made with just this Thorax on just this run, everything in this carry hold of this Stasis, because that's the way I take things in and out of LOSEC and LOSEC. And yeah, as you can see, we have been able to get 45 million out of just this one run. As you will see in the hangar, we have a lot more stuff from other runs, 102 million worth of stuff. But yeah, just this run, we got these valuables, which I consider to be really, really good loot. 45 million worth of loot for around half an hour of belt ratting, a little bit less, I think, because I actually had to come back to the station a few times to drop the loot because these ones are really, really big. But these are great because in most trade hubs they will actually buy them for 4 million ISK. Those are the buy orders. I recommend you search for them in Eve Marketer. I will leave the link in the description or in a comment below. But yeah, these are astonishingly good loot. I really, really love getting these. And as you can see, ratting is where we have gotten the most, at least in this series. And I think generally this is the best place to get them. So, now that you've seen what we can make with this beautiful Thorax, it's time to move on to the fit itself. It's fairly simple, it's fairly easy. As you can see, 17 million. I think it was worth a little bit more, but I am definitely sure it's under 20 million. That is the most important part, to be under 20 million, to be a cheap ship, a cheap fit, because in LOSEC we are going to lose the ship eventually. Eventually it is going to get destroyed, we are going to get haunted. That's the name of the game, that's the way it has to be. It's okay, don't take it personal, don't get upset, just fit up cheap ships that you can throw around that pay for themselves really, really quick. As you can see, this one has already paid for itself and for the next one whenever this one gets destroyed. And that also means we can throw it around. If we someone out in local, like right now, we can actually get out and have some fun. And if we lose the ship, it's no biggie because it's technically already paid for. So we move on to the fit. We're going to start off with 5 anode ion particle cannons. Why these ones? Well, first of all, because they are cheap and they are ion particle cannons. We could have used neutron cannons, but with the Microwarpdrive they wouldn't allow us in the CPU or in the power grid. I don't remember where was the problem. I think it was a power grid problem, but yeah, we couldn't fit all 5 of them. So we are using ion particle cannons, and we are using anode ones because they are not the best meta module, they are the second best, so that means they are a lot cheaper, a lot cheaper, and that's what we want. We want cheap modules, that's what we want, that's what we are here for, because we will lose this ship, so cheap modules are the way to go. Next up, we get a 50mn YT8 compact Microwarpdrive. Again, compact because our power grid is a little bit strained. But yeah, Microwarpdrive is really, really important to be able to close up on those rats really, really fast. We need to get close and personal to be able to apply our damage with the blasters, because as you can see, our range is not very impressive. 1700 to 6500. That's not a very long range. But the good thing about these blasters is we get 379 DPS, almost 400 DPS, and that's really, really good. As you can see, 280 DPS just from the guns, 99 DPS from the drones, and we are using medium drones, so those give us a buff in damage. If we were using light drones, we would make a lot less damage. And yes, the Thorax can fly the full flight of medium drones. Next up, we're gonna go to two medium compact PV acid cap batteries. They are really important to help us get a little bit of cap stability when the micro warp drive is off, because that is really important. We really want to have at least that little bit of cap stability, because the rest of the time we will not have it, and we want to be able to run our armor repair and our web and our guns at the same time without worrying about capacitor, and that allows us that. Next up, we have an X5 Enduring Stasis Webifier. Again, this one, and the Microwarpdrive, and the batteries, and even the guns you can actually get from rats themselves. They will drop out as loot, so I do recommend you loot every rat that you kill in the beginning, so that you can start to make these feats a lot cheaper, so you don't have to buy everything. But yeah, sorry, I got a little notification. We are good to go. So next up, we're gonna move on to two Vortex compact magnetic field stabilizers. Why these ones are not the Tech 2s? Because we have the CPU to fit the Tech 2s. Well, because they are cheap. They are also dropped by rats, so we take these ones because they are cheap. Remember, this feat is a feat that we can just throw around, get hunted, maybe try to pick up a fight with, and lose it eventually. When the time comes, it's gonna be okay. 17 million to under 20 million, it's not going to be a problem. Next up, we go to the upgraded multispectrum coating. This one, you can get either the multi one or the upgraded. It doesn't really matter. The good thing about the upgraded is that, again, rats drop them. So yeah, that's really good. As long as we can make this fit ultra mega cheap, that's what we want. Next up, IFFA compact damage control. I was going to go for the damage control tech 1, but I didn't have any in stock, and this one is actually dropped by rats, and I had a bunch of them on my station, so I used this one. You can use the tech 1 damage control if you haven't looted one of these, because they are about $1 million each one of these, I think. But yeah, FIA, I think this is one of the most expensive parts of the fit. And the medium 1A enduring armor repair. Again, not the Tech 2, because this one is the one that rats drop, so it's technically free, and that's what we want. We want to use those drops that we have been getting from the Catalyst runs, from the Incursus runs, to LOSEC to kill a bunch of rats, even in high sec. All the stuff that they have been dropping, we actually want to be able to use them on our fits, and that is very much the case here. The few things that we are actually going to have to go to the market to get are these three rigs, medium capacitor control circuit ones. We only use three because they are very cheap. They are tech ones, they are cheap, and they help us with the capacitor issue. So I'm going to simulate the fit, and as you can see, with the micro warp drive off, we are actually cap stable just a little bit, just barely cap stable, and that's what we want. We don't want to have way too much cap, because that means we could have fit something a little bit better. But what happens if we take one of these off? We're no longer cap stable. And what happens if we take a battery off? We are also no longer cap stable. So this is a really fine line between cap stability and not cap stability with a micro warp drive, because as you know, the micro warp drive halves your capacitor capacitance. So yeah, it basically reduces the size of the battery that your ship has installed in it. But yeah, with the micro warp drive off, we are actually cap stable. Next, what if we turn the micro warp drive on and the armor repair off? We are also cap stable, so we can just run around to collect things, to collect loot. We can actually just move around fast to get our loot, because when you're on this side of LOSEC, NullSec, you actually want to kill the rats as fast as possible and then go pick up the loot. And yeah, we will see in a few minutes the video of the runs themselves. As you will see, there is a pretty clear strategy. With the Catalyst, you wanted to be really careful on the approach. With the Thorax, not so much. You don't really need that, because it's a lot tankier. And because it's a lot tankier, you can just orbit at 500 from the beginning, launch drones for the frigates or for anything smaller. And if you have a battleship, you just ham everything into that battleship and just go blasting off. Go have fun. It's a really cheap fit. You can lose it, it won't be a problem, it won't be personal. As you can see, ours is already paid for, so we can actually lose it without a problem. Oh, and before I forget, we actually running 5 Hammerhead ones. Why? Again, rats drop them in the belts themselves. Rats drop them, so they are pretty much, most of the fit is free except for the ship and the capacitor control circuit ones. Most of it we can actually get from rats, and that's the great thing about this feed. So yeah, let's move on to the recordings. I have already gone out there to run the belts, and it's been really fun. So yeah, let's get it. Oh, and now we're free. So we're gonna do that, get out of the station, show you those recordings, and yeah, hope you enjoy the video. So we're gonna start up in a system. We want to go to our mining page here in the overview, and we're gonna set them up by name because we want to run them in a specific order so that we are not just jumping from belt to belt and just only getting the recs that we have taken down before. So we're gonna do that. As you can see, this is fairly easy to use. If there is no rats on the belt, we can just move on, but I made a big mistake and we didn't start with the first belt by name, so we're gonna move that overview so that it's properly set up, and we're gonna start up our run in the first belt. We already saw that there are some rats in that one, so let's get ready to take down some quick and easy rats. So you can see no one on the first belt, so let's move on to the second belt, and that way we keep everything in order and we're not moving around from belt to belt, not knowing which one we already cleared up, because the rats take around 15 to 20 minutes to come to respawn. So yeah, you could technically fit a venture ship so that after you're done running the belts, you can actually come out and mine a little bit. I don't really do that because I prefer doing other activities or just focusing on taking out the loot, because this is a little bit deep into nullsec, lowsec. And yeah, I'm just gonna, as you can see, we got some rats here. I'm gonna set up our orbit distance at 500. Get ready, this is a very easy fit to use. Unlike the catalyst, you don't need to double click and manually move around space. You just click orbit and hit the Microwarpdrive so that we can approach as fast as possible all those big juicy rats. And yeah, get on cracking with them. We will see the bounties are not necessarily good at first, but they do ramp up, and that's the important part, that the bounties do add up fairly good for a very good gain. And as you can see, it's fairly easy fit to use. You just orbit, turn off the micro warp drive once you're close enough, and yeah, just web them and start shooting with the blasters and send the drones out. The hammerheads are really good help because they are a really big boost in DPS. They can also take down the frigates. They have a little bit of a tougher time with the frigates because they are really small, so tracking is a little bit harder for them, but without the problem they should be able to take them out, and at least they can distract them while we focus on the battle cruisers. So yeah, we're just gonna do the exact same. As you saw, I only clicked the micro warp drive for one pass right there so we could get into orbit with this one, get a little bit close. I'm gonna take the drones in because they are taking a little bit of damage. As you can see, some of them are already damaged, so you don't really care that much, but you want to have your drones ready to come in and get out. You don't want to lose any drones because you will lose permanent DPS. As you can see, we don't have any spares. I'm just gonna loot everything and start approaching the rest of the loot so that the drones can take care of the rats. Let's just help them a little bit with our guns. And yeah, as you can see, this is a very easy fit to use. And I'm gonna start speeding up the video a little bit until we get some loot worth taking note of. So we are taking down some more battle cruisers and some smaller frigate rats, and as you can see, we got the 4 million ISK module. We love those modules. Those modules really pay for these kind of hits, and they are really great because in high sec there are actual buy orders for 4 million ISK for these modules. If you have a good reprocessing skill, they can be worth more, but as an alpha, you cannot get reprocessing that high. So it's really just in your best interest to sell them as fast as possible because they are really good. And yeah, we're gonna see which guns we actually take. We're gonna see which guns we actually get because some of the guns that we will be getting from these ratting runs will be the same guns that we are using in this exact same thorax. So this is technically prepping up to fit the next thorax for when we lose it. Remember, we are in LOSEC, we are eventually going to lose the ship, we're eventually gonna get hunted. Don't be upset, it's a part of the game. Don't worry about it. It's natural, it's normal. That's the way the game goes, and that's the way it's supposed to go. So when you lose the ship, when, not if, but when you lose the ship, just make sure it's already paid for. Like this one, it's great fun to just yeet around ships. As you can see, we have some people in local. We're gonna be de-scanning frantically. He seems to not be so bad, but yeah, we're gonna be de-scanning a lot because you never know who is there. You never know. He might look like a rookie, but he might actually be an alt account or a tackle account. So you always want to be really careful around the people in LOSEC. Everyone you should assume that's gonna have a bad intention, that's gonna try to hunt you down. So always be ready. You don't need to warp off immediately when someone comes into local, but you need to be scanning constantly and be ready to get hunted. It can actually be pretty fun to be hunted, but yeah, I'm gonna continue speeding up the video a little bit until we get some more loot worth noting. So, running these belts, I have come across a little bit of a problem. We are taking it a lot of big modules on our cargo hold, and we're gonna have to jettison some of them out. So I recommend you right click, sort them by estimated price reversed so that everything valuable is on the top. See what you want to take out or what is not so valuable or what you will not be using on these feeds.
and actually just jettison it out, because those 4 million ISK modules, even though they take a lot of space, they are really valuable and they are pretty much guaranteed ISK. So I do recommend you clear up a little bit of space for them, because they are the best part of these writing sessions. But yeah, for the rest of the time, we're just gonna keep on doing our thing and keep on destroying some belt rats, getting ready to get that big loot out of LOSEC. And yeah, just run the rats. As you can see, it's a little bit of time, but it's not really that bad, and you can actually have a lot of fun with the adrenaline of being here in LOSEC, just being hunted, seeing people come in and out of local. You can really have a lot of fun. You can just get ready for the worst to happen, and it can be really fun. As you can see, 17 million, the feed is almost paid for, and I think it's pretty paid for. But yeah, that's really good, and we could just go off to the station and drop this loot. I think I'm gonna do that in a little bit. I just want to take out these few things, and I'm gonna continue to speed up a little bit the video so that you guys don't have to see me destroying a lot of rats all the time, constantly. So I have just seen that our cargo hold is a little bit extra full, so I'm gonna create a safe spot right here, and we're gonna go back to the station, and we have, through the magic of editing, come back out to our safe spot so that we don't take that much time. As you can see, our cargo hold is now empty and ready to continue on ratting and taking that great loot into the cargo hold, because as you can see, the cargo hold gets really full really quickly, and that's a bit of a problem. But as you can see, with a cruiser we don't really take that much time warping in and out of places, and the Thorax makes really quick work of all these rats. We have now a battle cruiser and 3 cruisers. This is gonna be a bit of the harder sides, these ones alongside the 2 battle cruisers and certain other ships. But just remember, keep orbiting close so that the battle cruiser cannot hit you, the battleship, sorry, cannot hit you. And as long as you do that, you will not have that much of a problem with the cruiser's DPS. And yeah, it's pretty good, it's pretty okay. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to speed up a little bit the video. I just wanted to comment on that you can, without a problem, go back to the station when you feel you are absolutely full and you cannot jettison anything out because you want to use everything. Maybe you have guns that you will use for the Thorax itself, but yeah, you can just go back to the station, leave, drop everything and undock again, and you shouldn't really have much of a problem with it, and just carry on. So we are going back at it a little bit more just so that we can finish up all the belts in the system. Uh, I think we're gonna finish up soon enough, so I'm just gonna finish up all of the belts in the system, make sure that we have taken everything out, and I know that the rats are gonna take a little bit to respawn, so yeah, I'm just gonna move on to the next bit of the video, which will be the Sunesis, taking the Sunesis back into HiSec, because remember, if you don't get your loot out of LOSEC, you haven't made any ISK, you still need to be able to take it to somewhere you can sell, and that means at least into HiSec. So until that, do not consider it profits. My computer seems to be having some problems with the recording, but yeah, remember, you haven't made anything until you take it out into the market. So be careful around LOSEC, and we'll move on to that part.
Hello everyone, I am back. Um, I went out a second time on the belts and we didn't get that much loot, and we actually got some surprise friends, and we got hunted down a little bit and we played around with them a little bit, but when they weren't moving systems I decided, okay, this one is pretty much full, so let's move on to actually get this stuff out of LOSEC. And we actually just didn't take everything that we got, but in the second round we actually got a very nice module that rounds up all of this strip and makes it worthy, and for I don't know what, six, at least three more thoraxes already paid for, which is actually really good because we got a Shadow of Serpentis battleship. These spawns are really rare, but they are really good. And as you can see, 67 million for just one module from the Shadow of Serpentis battleship. And of course, we got some other stuff that wasn't worth taking with us. And we got five of these, which, as we will see, the buy orders are for 4 million. So these are really good. Oh my god, these are really good. But yeah, these are really good. So we got five of those, three of these, and three of these, and I think they are most of all the same prices. So yeah, I'm just going back to my base. Yeah, and yeah, I just wanted to tell you all that doing this low sec null sec routing is really nice. It really pays off really fast. As long as you keep going out in a cheap ship, it can actually pay for a lot of other activities, and it's one of my favorite activities because you really feel like you're progressing, is-wise. Plus, you also get the payouts from the bounties of the ships that you're destroying. As you can see, here it is, bounty prices for killing pirates in T. Louis, which is the system where I was killing these rats. I'm probably gonna have to change my spot now that everyone's gonna know about it. But yeah, 1 million, 4 million, 15 million. This was the tick where we took down that Shadow Serpentis battleship, because I think his bounty was around 7 million, but and we took it had two other battleships with it. So yeah, we took down three battleships. It was a little tougher and it was a little more time, but we were able to take it down. And see, these ones still 2 million, 5 million. Just the bounty payouts are really good. Plus, as you can see, the loot is also really nice. As you can see, we've made a pretty penny, 121 million ISK. I would say that's the Thorax very well paid for. And yeah, I'm just glad you guys could come along with me on this trip. We are finally finalizing the Galente pilot part of the series. We're gonna move on. Let me know if you want a specific empire to start with. I'm thinking about maybe starting with Amar, but if you want any in particular, let me know. And I'm gonna have just a few more videos for Galentes, just hauling stuff. Maybe level 3 missions if you would like to see how I